Hello everyone, my name is Jake and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time checking out my vlogs, my name is Jake and I've been a nurse here in London for 5 years now. And recently, I have become a permanent resident. So this vlog is made especially for those of you who are about to reach 5 years or have already reached 5 years and are about to apply for their indefinite leave to remain. And one of the most important things that you need to be able to apply for permanent residency or for your indefinite leave to remain or ILR is your life in the UK test. And in today's vlog, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. But before that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button down below and keep your notifications on to make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. This vlog is going to be divided into 4 different parts. Part number 1 is the basic facts. Part 2 is what to study and how to study. Part 3 is booking the exam. Part 4 is sharing of my experience on the actual day of the exam. But try not to skip the video so you won't miss anything important. Okay, let's go to part 1. Basic facts. So what is the Life in the UK test? It is an examination that tests your knowledge about life here in the UK and also tests your capability to use the English language. It is a computer-based exam made up of 24 multiple-choice questions. You have 45 minutes to complete the test, and you need to get at least 18 correct answers, or 75% of the total score, for you to pass the exam. The exam costs £50 per take, but hopefully you will pass it on one take. The questions are chosen at random by the computer program. But the most important fact is, it will not expire. Once you pass it, that's all you'll need. You can use this for your indefinite leave to remain application, but also for your British citizenship application. Part 2. What to study and how to study. The good thing about the exam is that all questions are taken from a single book. And that book is this one. This is Life in the United Kingdom, a guide for new residents. And the 3rd edition is the latest edition. This is the official book published by TSO on behalf of the Home Office. And this is your official source of all the things you need to study for you to pass the Life in the UK test. Now you might see other versions of this book. You might see this one or this one. They all contain this whole book. The only difference is some of them have emphasized certain facts and made them bigger, and that's why some of these books are thicker than usual. Some have added photos and acronyms, and others have tables and charts that emphasize the important points of the chapter. There's also one version that already contains practice tests at the end of the book. So which book should you use? Well, it really depends on you. The important thing is that it covers everything inside this book. The original book itself also has photos, so as I've said, there's not much difference. But if you go to the UK government website, they also have audiobook, ebook, and e-learning prescription for the Life in the UK test, so you can choose whichever you are more comfortable with. So where can you get this book? You can order it online from the government website or from eBay or Amazon. But there's also another way where you don't have to pay anything. And that is to go to your local library. And that's what I did. If they don't have the latest version on hand, you can request it and they will procure it for you. This will benefit not just you, but all other library users who will also be taking their Life in the UK test in the future. The official handbook is divided into 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is the values and principles of the UK. Chapter 2, what is the UK? Chapter 3, a long and illustrious history. 4, a modern, thriving society. And the 5th one is the UK government, the law, and your role. Now, because this is a computer-based test, and the system chooses the questions, it's very important that you read through all of the things in the book. But I'm not saying that you have to memorize the whole book. What you need to do is read and understand the book. And as much as we don't like memorizing, there are a few things that you actually need to memorize. Depending on what type of learner you are, there are a few methods that you can use. For me personally, I wrote the important facts in a notebook. That way, I don't have to go back to all those lengthy paragraphs to look for an important information, because I've already made a summary of it in my notebook. You can also use highlights in the book, but only if it's your book, not if it's from the library. Or you can make a song out of the facts. You can also make acronyms. For example, I use the acronym FB-LING for the 6 original European countries included in the European Union. FB-LING stands for France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Italy, Netherlands, and Germany. So before you start studying, make sure you know what your learning style is. So you finished reading the whole book. Will that be enough for you to pass the exam? No, it's not. You have to do practice tests. There are several sources for practice tests. Source number 1 is if you bought a book that has a practice test at the back. Source number 2, there's a website that provides practice test questions, and I'm gonna put that link in the description down below. Source number 3, there's also a Life in the UK practice test app that you can download on your Apple and Android devices. This way, you can do practice tests wherever you are, whether you're in the bus or in the tube, or waiting for your order at the restaurant, or queuing down at Primark. When I was reviewing for the exam, I did loads of practice tests. There's one website that I found that had more than 50 sets of questions for you to practice with. I read through the comments in this website, and one person said, if you finish the first 15 sets and you pass all of them, you will definitely pass the exam. So I'm going to put a link to that website down below in the description so you can practice. Part 3. Booking the exam. So how to book the exam. In order to book the test, you need to go online to the UK government website, and I will put a link of that in the description below, where you can just click it and you can go straight to the booking page. You need to book online a minimum of 3 days before the exam. So recently, my flatmates have booked their dates for the test, and I will tell you that there are no more slots for July and August. So if you are planning to take the exam in the next few months, it's best that you have a look and book now. Otherwise, you might wait for a few months before you can have a slot. This is mostly because of the social distancing measures they're putting into place, so there's lesser slots per day. In order to book the exam, you will need 3 things. Number 1, a valid email address. Number 2, a debit or credit card. And number 3, an accepted form of ID. This can be your valid passport, biometric residence permit, or your EU identity card. And it's very important to make sure that the name that you put on the booking form online is the exact match to the name written on your ID card. You must bring the original ID on the day of your exam. No scanned copies or photocopies will be allowed. I wanted to create a step-by-step guide on the booking process, but the government website doesn't allow screen recording apps to record the process. But anyway, it's a very easy process. You just need to read through the instructions and just follow. Let's go to part 4, my experience during the exam. The exam is conducted in a test center. There are 30 test centers across the UK. You just need to choose one that is closest to you. You are not allowed to bring family or children to the test center. And you need to arrive at least 10 to 15 minutes before the exam. But personally, I would give it 30 minutes before the exam just in case there are delays in the train or in the tube. So now I'll tell you my experience during the exam. When I arrive at the test center, the staff checked my bag for any illegal items or any recording devices. He then asked for my badge so that he can cross-check it with their list for the day. He then asked me to sign a login sheet, after which I was asked to sit down and wait for my name to be called. A few minutes later, I was then called by a lady into a small office, and she then asked for my identification document and a valid proof of address. Now I know for most recent bookings, they don't ask for proof of address anymore. because my flatmate just did it a few days ago, and it didn't ask him to bring any proof of address, but previously there was that requirement. So just to be safe, just bring a proof of address which is dated within 3 months of the exam. So it could be a bank statement. If it's an online bank statement and you've printed it at home, you need to have it stamped, dated, and signed by the branch. It could also be an electricity bill or a council tax bill. So in the office, she took my identification document, which at that time I used my BRP. So she scanned the BRP, she scanned my Barclays bank statement, and uploaded them to my file. After scanning these documents, she then took a photo of me. There's a very clear warning on the website that if you refuse to have your photo taken, you won't be able to take the exam. So this is basically a confirmation of your identity. After confirming my identity, the lady then gave me a locker key. I was asked to put all of my things, including my cell phone, into the locker and to only bring with me my identification document, which is my BRP. Once everything was locked, I had to sit down again and wait for my name to be called to enter the actual testing area. When my name was called, I entered through a glass door. As soon as I entered the proper testing area, there was a guy waiting for me who then asked me to put my arms straight out, and then he frisked me all over to check for any cell phone or any material that you could be hiding, which would help you to cheat. So it's quite strict. Once he was satisfied that I didn't bring anything else, he then assigned me to a seat. So just to give you an idea of how the testing area looks like. So, for example, this is the room. There's one line here of computer cubicles, another line here, and another line here. At that time, there was still no COVID, so there was somebody right beside me, but we are divided by cubicles, so you won't be able to see the next person's screen or be able to hear anything. So I then went to my cubicle. It's basically just a computer and a chair and the mouse. Once I was sitting down, the invigilator said that I could start whenever I'm ready. So on the computer screen, there will be very clear instructions which you need to follow. And if I remember correctly, you will need to put your ID document number. So if this is your BRP, you'd put in your BRP number, which is on the top right corner. Or if this is your passport, you'd put your passport number. I'm not sure if that is still the case at the current time, but that was the reason why I had to bring the identification document inside the testing area. After you've put in your ID number, the test will then start. You will be seeing one question at a time. At the top of the page, there is a button that you can click to flag a question. That is if you're not sure of your answer, so you can go back to it later on when you've finished reading all of the questions. So yes, you can go back to the item if you were not sure when you first read the question. So do not panic if you don't know the answer for this question. You can flag it, you skip it, and you go and answer all the other questions. And when you've finished all of the 24 questions, you can go back to that item, think properly, reread it, try to recall the facts, and then put in your right answer. You will have 45 minutes to answer the exam, so do not rush. Even if you're very, very confident, try not to rush. Sometimes overconfidence can cause you to make some mistakes. Take time to read and understand the question, because this is the point where they test your capability to understand the English language. You might see a question that looks familiar from the practice test you've done, but actually they might have tweaked it, they might have added the word not, or they might have removed the word not from the question you've met in one of the practice tests. They may also have rephrased things and now it's asking for a different answer. So you need to read the questions very carefully and understand it. If you want, you can review all of the questions again, or you can just review the ones that you've flagged. Personally, I would advise that you leave those questions that you have answered properly and you're 100% sure of those answers. Because what will happen is, there will be second thoughts creeping in, and you might want to change those answers even if you are 100% sure. Once you're finished and you've clicked the finish button, that's it. You will not be able to reread them again or change your answers. When you're finished, lift your hand up and the invigilator will escort you to the door. And that's it, you've finished! Once you come out of the testing area, you can now retrieve your bag and all your other items from the locker. You will be asked to sit down again and wait for the lady to call you. For me, there wasn't much of a queue, so as soon as I sat down, the lady called me in again to the office. She confirmed my identity again, asked for my BRP card. So when I was in the office, I was still quite nervous about the results, and then the lady asked me, "Do you think you've done well?" And I was like, "I hope so." And then she laughed, and then she clicked a button and something came out of the printer, and that was my result. And then she gave me my result. So it's basically just a single sheet of paper, and I have it right here. I'm just covering my personal details and my unique test number, so no one can steal my data in case they use this for their application. So it looks like this. It's called a pass notification letter, Life in the UK test. And at the bottom of this page, you have the name of the testing center where you took the exam, their ID number, and then a stamp and a signature of the officer who printed your results. Now, it's very important to remember that you will not be emailed any result. This is the only result you will get. So if you tend to lose things, it's best that you take a photo, or better yet, do a scan using app like Cam Scanner to have an electronic copy of your test results. You will need the test instance ID during your ILR application, but also part of your uploaded documents for that application is the whole page. So it's very important that you keep this paper safe. It should not get wet or get torn. Otherwise, that will be a big problem for your application. So when the staff prints your result, it can still be either a pass or a fail. If you fail, you will need to wait 7 days before you can rebook a test. You can take the exam as many times as you need until you pass. But why take loads of tests? If you read the whole book and did the practice questions, you will definitely pass the exam. And if you pass, well, congratulations! You're on your way to become a permanent resident. And 1 year after that, you will become a British citizen. So that's it for now, guys. I hope my experience has given you an idea of how the test will be like. Don't forget to check out all the links down below in the description, especially the practice test. I hope you do loads of them to boost your chances of passing the exam. If you thought this video was helpful, then please click the like button down below. If you still haven't subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button. And if you've got friends who are about to take this exam, please share this video to them. Always remember, guys, that as with anything in life, if you work hard for it, you will definitely achieve it. So study hard, do all of those practice tests, and definitely you will pass the exam. You will keep that inside your head that you will pass the exam, and it will definitely happen. And if you're taking the exam soon, don't forget to tell me your results. Comment down below and say, "I passed the test," and we can all celebrate together. Woo! Once again, this is Jake, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.